All right, real quick, it's yours truly, Mr. Taliaferro. Before the video starts, it would mean the world to me if you follow me on Twitter, Instagram. That's how my business grows. At is Mr. Taliaferro on your screen right now. When you follow and subscribe to me, you become one of the pharaohs. That's how I talk business, and that's how you support a young hustler out here getting it. I consume content for a living, and I'll just be honest with you guys. Every morning, I'm up. I watch the Ebro in the mornings, the Breakfast Clubs. I consume content. I'm watching the top platforms, and I'm watching what they're putting out in the atmosphere. And just so have it, everybody's doing their little reaction to XXXTentacion being killed. And it looks like it was like a robbery attempt. I'm not even sure if they got away with a lot of stuff. I think they got away with a Louis backpack. Was that worth that young man's life is another question for another day. But I will say this. I'm listening to Ebro in the morning try to break down their take on X and the person XXXTentacion, who he was. So I've had these conversations a few times in the last 24 hours with close friends of mine. People call me, text messages and all that. We're having these convos of, yo, when you die, do we forget about any bad or good that you've done on Earth, specifically the bad? And I heard Peter Rosenberg and Ebro and even Laura going in on it, and they were like, yo, to call this dude a young king, rest in peace, young king, all this and that is going to be difficult for them because they were privileged, like a lot of people who were fans of X music or journalists in this industry. They were able to go online and see some of the documents and read some of the articles that were done by respected journalists and respected outlets that showed a lot of X's troubled past. So we're gonna go in depth in this thing, and I'm not gonna say I'm calling out Hot 97 Ebro in the morning, but I want to say there's some hypocrisies in some of what they said. I will say that. If you go back and read some of these articles on X, and God rest the dead, you will understand and you will find out that this woman, his former girlfriend, I believe, who was pregnant at the time, she accuses X, and again, he had trials coming up. None of this stuff he was found guilty of at this point. He had trials coming up, a lot of them. He had about 12 or 13 felonies coming his way, or charges, excuse me. I know there were charges, I'm not sure they were felonies coming his way soon, which included tampering with the witness. If you go back and read, this woman accused X of beating her, smacking her randomly, taking her phone, throwing it to the ground, just these random outbursts for no reason, right? And it was, you know, he was probably dealing with a mental disorder. His upbringing was different. I believe his grandma raised him, and he struggled with anger issues for sure, right? And I'm no fan of X's music. I pay respect to the dead though. But for me to sit around and just say this was likely a good person, nah, I ain't gonna do that. If you put your hands on a woman, in my book, I call you a clown. You know, no matter what, you consistently put your hand on a woman. I think one time is too many. But if you do it consistently, you're a clown. Now, I want to be clearly transparent and say we've seen X in front of the camera. We've seen him socially try to make change. And a lot of people who knew this guy, they say he was not the guy who he was about a year or two ago. He was working hard to evoke change in his life, because if we remember when X got on the scene about a year and some change ago, once he got out of incarceration, he came out dissing Drake, disrespecting that man's mother. He came out and we've heard him speak on death. If somebody kills me, just know it was Drake who did it. These are things he said. He spoke on death a lot, right? It was present in the music. I was watching an IG clip from him that was a recent one. He was like, if I die, just know that I want to impact a lot of people's life. I mean, he spoke on death a lot. You know, the brother spoke on death a lot. And it looks like he was trying in front of the camera to do positive stuff. And I would hope behind the scenes, his lifestyle was in line with what he was doing in front of the camera. He was doing charity. I'd hope behind the scenes he had changed as well. And maybe so. We don't know. Not behind the scenes. So, with all that being said, I believe Peter Rosenberg said something along the lines, I'm paraphrasing here, I'm not direct quoting. It's tough to really praise this man and watch the rap community praise him because he's no longer here and call him this tremendous talent and not acknowledge the bad that he did. And though I'm conflicted, I will acknowledge Peter Rosenberg makes a good point. But I would like to combat Ebro in the Morning with this point. There's this growing notion in hip hop of we only accept certain people, certain street dudes. Hip hop accepts, some of them we don't. And I've been conflicted and confused for the last 3 years as I've covered hip hop about this notion. If a guy by the name of 21 Savage, who's a down south artist, though fairly young, but he fits the part of the street dude that we've known and grown to love their music, we accept him mainstream. We know he's a street dude. We know he's capable of doing stuff. But for the artist that makes music that caters to the white fan base, right, who might be black, like X was, we typically don't allow him to, in the actual older head community, not me, I'm 24, right? But in the old head community, they typically don't allow that artist to talk street shit, talk gangster shit. Again, Kodak Black, NBA Youngboy, these artists, they get in. And artists like X or Tekashi's on the fence, I'll leave him out. But like a Lil Pump, they're on the outskirts, right? Because their street cred can be validated, right? And these are probably not street dudes. They probably just make music that they're talking about street stuff. And we've now in hip hop kind of had to weave out what do we believe is real and what do we believe is fictitious. And what comes with that is a lack of acceptance. Now, I said all that to say, though Ebro in the Morning, they made it clear that they would not allow themselves to call X a young king in lieu of his passing. I want Hot 97 and Ebro in the Morning specifically to watch their actions, right? Because, yo, they didn't give Fab a 20-minute video in a lieu of what we seen on camera. Did we see Fab put his hands on a woman on camera? No. But I mean, we sure as hell listen to this man make a threat in the direction of his baby mother's father and heck, even his baby mother. We seen Famous Dex on camera put his hands on a woman. He was on that Summer Jam Festival stage this year. We know about Chris Brown's past. It's checkered. He headlined Summer Jam last year. I'm just watching this closely to see in regards to what we let pass through and what we don't. Because it seems like the more the artist has a street past, right, we allow them to get passes in certain things they do. And with artists that we don't look at as street artists, like an X, who might talk about some stuff from time to time in their music, we don't give them the same pass. We're quick to get rid of them and hold them to a standard because they don't come from the background. Let's just use 21 Savage as an example. And y'all know I got nothing but love and respect for 21. It's just a visible example that I could use. Like X might have struggled like 21 did. Who's to say that he ain't grow up with a past that has altered his present dramatically, as you know, we mourn the loss of him yesterday, right? But because 21's the street dude, we give him that respect. I just think hip hop's in an interesting space, man, of we're subjectively picking what we think should get a pass and who we think should get a pass and who should not. And now we're trying to have morals in hip hop in a sport that has never had morals. And I'm watching radio stations choose favors and I'm watching them still support people with checker passes. I'm watching who radio stations won't stand by. A lot of the younger artists don't get the same passes that they were willing to give artists like 50 Cent. Some of these passes who we've heard countless negative stories about, right? It's just interesting to me, and I'm gonna proceed with caution as we grow. And I think that's worth noting in Ebro in the Morning's take on this X situation. God rest the dead. Like I said to start this video, was X a good dude? Probably not. Was he working to be better? Looks like it in front of the camera. We don't know behind the scenes what we was doing, but in front of the scenes, he looks like he was trying hard to do better. Do we forget what he done to people, what he did to this woman? Or heck, I think there's a story out there of him allegedly beating a gay man or bragging about beating a gay man from when he was behind bars. Yeah, I don't know if this was a good, I don't know why I even do that, but I don't know if this was a great individual. But nevertheless, I want the standard to be the same for everyone. That's all I'm asking for. I just want that standard to be the same for everyone. And it just looks like we're just playing this game of favoritism in hip hop because of your street cred. And I don't know, how subjective can we get with this? Y'all talk to me, comment box below. I'm out.
I want to salute you, homie, you know, for building your own thing and doing your own thing, creating your own platform, your own website.
I got one life to live out my dreams, and I'm giving this thing all I got. I interview celebrities. I talk sports. I represent the culture.
Right now, you're turning up on MrTaliaferro.com, shawty. Yeah.